The town of Two Spruce is about to lose their beloved library. A team of volunteer actors comes to its financial rescue by staging a murder mystery. But on opening night, a real murder threatens their theatrical aspirations. If you are a fan of the fast-paced murder mystery comedies and a lover of reading, then you might want to take the drive to the town of Delta this weekend to see Murder by the Book, a live theater fundraiser in support of the Rideau Lakes Public Library. Joining me to tell us more about it is Chris Whitty, the director of the play. Welcome, Chris. You are directing the upcoming play that's happening in Delta, and I'd like to hear more about the play. What is it actually about?
Well, thank you for the invitation. The play is called Murder by the Book. Laura Tisdale wrote it, and Louise Penny is the author, who then endorsed it. She wrote this play as a means to raise money for her local library. Turns out they raised a lot of money for their library, and they decided that they would promote it nationwide to any library that wanted to produce the play for free on the grounds that the money goes back to the library. So we have 5 libraries in Rideau Lake. I'm saying the word library a lot, but we have 5 libraries in Rideau Lakes, and all 5 of them are endorsing this play to raise money to go back into their coffers to help support them. And the lady in charge of all of this, Maddie McLeod, approached me probably 3 months ago and said, would you like to direct? I have a lot of experience in theater and stuff. And I said, let's have a look. So she introduced me to this play. I'd never heard of it before. It's called Murder by the Book. And the story is about a group of friends of the library, employees, patrons, who decide that they want to put on a murder mystery play about a bunch of old high school friends in a library. The problem is that they go through the rehearsal. It's an hour before showtime. And they're just rehearsing one big scene where the character dies. And everything's good. They go back to retry the scene one more time, and the character who dies, the actress actually dies. So all of a sudden you have all of these actors an hour before showtime trying to figure out, what are we going to do? They call the police. The police can't show up for a couple of hours, but there is a policeman in the cast. And he decides the only thing he can do, since the other police can't get there for hours, is to investigate the murder by allowing them to continue using the dead body to practice. And so the whole thing is a murder mystery comedy about trying to find out who killed her, how she died, and get through all of this while still trying to practice the play, because the audience is showing up in less than an hour.
What type of audience do you want to attend?
People who like to laugh.
Okay.
It's a very, very clever story.
And what about age group? Would children, young children?
There is nothing in this story at all that is inappropriate for any age group.
Chris, tell me why it's so important that you become involved in this fundraiser for the library, and tell me how you got the other people involved too that are part of the cast. Why is it so important to everybody to help with this fundraiser?
Well, first off, I think that I got involved personally because I love theater, I love performing, I love the idea of encouraging other people to perform, and not just for money. This is all entirely a volunteer cast, a volunteer production team. There isn't a single person being paid for this. It's because they love the arts as much as I do. But take on to that the idea that all of these small town arts programs are disappearing. You've lost all of your different theater groups from all over the backwoods type thing, and all of your different performers, and nobody's getting the chance to go out and make a difference and bring something home that everybody in the neighborhood can rally around and meet each other and get to know each other and talk about the next day when they're having their coffee or calling their friends. And the idea of bringing something back to a community that is slowly dying is fundamental. And when we approached the cast about this, each and every one of them jumped in wholeheartedly. And we find that they're treating this exactly the same way I would like to have it treated, which is they're accepting it as more like a kitchen party, and we're going to put on a play. But we're going to put on the best play we possibly can so that people are going to remember this, and then when we do it next year or the year after that, or we do something else, they're going to want to come back to this little community because they're going to say, hey, remember Delta? That was fantastic. There's a lot of closeted actors in Rideau Lakes. So out of the groups that we have, the cast is 9 people.
Yes.
3 are from Delta, 3 are from Athens. 1 is from Delta, 1 is from Jones Falls, and the last one is from up towards Perth. And they just showed up and auditioned, and it's like God gave them to us because each actor each audition that we had perfectly fit one of the roles for the different parts of the play. And we couldn't be happier with what we ended up in the cast. And to be honest, I've been working with these people for the last 3 months, and I think each and every one of them is brilliant.
What dates are we looking at?
Our opening night, although it's technically our final dress rehearsal, so the tickets are a little bit cheaper, is for Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And then the show's on Friday night and Saturday night at 7 o'clock. And then there's a matinee on Sunday at 2 o'clock.
Can you tell me if there are other events that you'll be planning in the near future after Murder by the Book is completed?
Actually, I can tell you something that's happening at the same time if you really want a Sunday event. The United Church in Delta at 11 o'clock in the morning is holding a fiddler's service. So we have the Glengarry fiddlers showing up in the church with a bunch of teenagers who will be fiddling and step dancing and everything during the service, followed by a lunch. And then at 2 o'clock we have the matinee of the show. So that's the biggest thing right now. But if you want to look at other events on Friday night and Saturday night at the Bastard Coffee House. And in case anybody's wondering, the township used to be called Bastard Township, and every local embraces that name, just like a Newfoundlander embraces the name Newfie, but nobody else can say it. And but it's the same thing where we are. So the Bastard Coffee House is holding events where they're going to have local musicians come in and play. Delta's Got Talent will be going on in September. We're just wrestling which weekend it'll be, either the weekend of the 20th or the 27th. And beyond that, there's also events in the park. We have an amazing trailer park there, right on the Lower Beverly Lake, which is a beautiful scenic lake, and they always have something going on every weekend, whether it's the Old Bastards Motorcycle Club or the big Canada Day Festival. And that's just Delta. The rest of Rideau Lakes has a lot going on too, so it's a fantastic area if you can follow everything that's going on.
So it sounds like that area is very active. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
So tell me exactly where the play will be taking place in Delta.
So if you were to go into the town of Delta, there's the old town hall. Like Delta used to be its own town before it amalgamated with all of Rideau Lakes. And the old town hall is right beside the historic mill that we have there. It's a national treasure, national historic site is the Delta Mill. And right across the creek from it is the old town hall. It seats about 100 people, and it's got a really nice stage inside. And that's where we're going to be holding it.
So Murder by the Book is a mystery and a comedy, and I hope everybody drives out to Delta to take part in it.
I hope
Thank
they
you
do
very
too.
much, Chris, for joining us today.
It was my pleasure.